Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Likewise.
And soon to be Happy New Year.
With Jeremy Chinn going on IR, who was involved basically to fill that role, and what did he mean to this defense?
We'll start first with man. His toughness, his leadership out there, his professionalism, on the field and off the field, and then the production, in terms of tackling. He's a solid tackler, and then the fact that, he's an impact tackler. When you feel him out there on the field, you can hear it out there on the field. So that's a big loss there, but he's in the meeting room, still displaying the leadership, the toughness, everything there. So that's a good thing. And then we'll see how it shapes out. We got a day of practice today and then on Friday and see how it shapes out, who's going to play in that role. But we got guys that are, ready to go and getting ready to go for Sunday.
Probably don't need more examples of him making hustle plays, but the chase down tackle that he has in that game, like how are you able to kind of use that as an example to other guys to show them?
Singling out Max, Max did a great job on that play, and that's how he plays. The thing, in terms of the example of Max, I would prefer. That's a great play to show, no question. But to me, the consistency of how he gets up in the morning and gets here to get his body right, and how he gets here to get his mind right every day on a daily basis, and he's truly somebody that's 365 in terms of just doing it every day. That's the greatest example of a professional athlete I could give you, just in terms of his work ethic, how he does that, what he puts into the game, how he brings others along with him. But that play definitely shows you a little bit about, not a little bit, it shows you who he is, but that's who he is.
Staying with Max, fifth Pro Bowl, top 5 in NFL history in single-season tackles for losses. Mm-hmm. Did you know that, and do you think that Max is a bit overshadowed by the season that Myles Garrett's having?
I don't like to draw comparisons. Myles Garrett's a good player, a great player. Max is a great player. I'm sure, I can't remember, I don't have it in front of me, one of the goals for Max, I think it was about TFLs. You have to ask him about that. But the thing that stands out about Max, a guy who, if you single him up in the pass rush, he's going to win. We talk about that. Like, if they do single you up, go win. And he understands that. That's what we want. But the fact that how he plays the run in terms of tackles for loss, setting the edge, and he's a true complete player. That's why, it's like going back to Rob Ninkovich when they would talk about how Ninkovich, when I had him, how he's running all over the field and stuff like. I got that, but this is also, let's be very clear. This is a very skilled defensive end. His plays aren't just hustle. This guy's skilled. He's a skilled pass rusher. He's a skilled run defender. He works at all of it, and it's a pleasure to be around him.
He always talks about that what's next mentality. How much is that contagious within the defensive unit?
I can't speak for those guys, but I would assume, anytime you stay stagnant in this league or get complacent, you're going to get passed by. It's a young people league. That's what it is. They draft a whole bunch of guys in April or whatever it is, or May, or I don't know what day it is. But they draft a whole bunch of guys to come in here to replace these guys for their jobs. So if you get complacent, and they're cheaper. So, that's the nature of the business. So if you get complacent, you better be thinking about the next thing. Take care of the moment, but you better be trying to get better than you were the day before because, just the nature of the business, they're trying to replace you because the young guys are cheaper and they're younger.
From Jackson Dart, what kind of challenges does he bring?
Well, start off, funky situation. He had a veteran in front of him. He comes in, dynamic football player, in terms of what I mean by that is explosive plays in the run game. You see it, when he creates those plays down there, running the ball, explosive plays in terms of the pass game. He has arm talent, and then the fact that the loose plays when he gets outside the pocket, could get the ball down the field. He's doing a good job of distributing the ball. He has his main targets, but he's doing a good job of distributing the ball. And then I always talk about, with the quarterbacks, how is he checking in and out of the runs? He's doing a good job with their check with me run game. You can see that he's getting some favorable looks for him. But it's a good young player that's just starting his NFL career. Has a level of toughness. He'll throw it up in there against anybody. So it's definitely a challenge for us.
You could put a finger on what do you believe has been the reason why Eric Stokes has been so successful this year? What would it be?
Let's start with the obvious is physical attributes in terms of their speed, there's length, that in quickness. So that means, you're talking about corner, the physical attributes, that's what you're looking for. And then, I tried to get it to catch on the EPMD thing. He's strictly business. Again, that's who he is. I can't joke with him during the stretch lines. I tried again yesterday. He wasn't having it. And I said, okay, I'll just leave you alone. By week 17, I should learn. But he's about his business. I'm sure it's being on a new team. He came in with a certain focus. You have to ask him, but he's strictly business, and he's risen to the occasion in terms of when they challenge him. So it's been good to see him grow and get into this role where there's confidence. He's healthy. It's a good thing.
On the back end of that, also, how beneficial has it been for other corners to have Eric Stokes in that room as well, with kind of what he's experienced in Green Bay?
You can ask them about it. But I would assume any veteran can give him some insight. E is willing to talk football. He might not be willing to joke with me, but he's willing to talk football. So, he's always talking about football, talking about the splits, talking about what the receivers do. And I'm sure those guys are just being sponges. But, most veterans, when you got a good group of vets that are willing to, share the knowledge. It's a good thing for those young players. But you have to ask them exactly.
With no Jeremy Chin, does that change your scheme at all with a versatile player?
Yes,
like
it's
him?
going to change everything. So, Ready Giants, we're doing something. No, I don't. No. What happens? You're missing one of your better players. But this league, it's a collision sport. The guys got to be ready to step up. The injuries occur. Always us. We can't be worried about that. All 31 teams are dealing with injuries. So, other guys got to step in there, and we're going to miss his physical presence. But am I expecting the guys that come in for him not to be physical? No. They have to be physical. They have to tackle. Yes. They have to cover. So schematically, who knows? But just in terms of, you're missing a good player out there, and that. But everybody's missing good players right now this time of the season.
Is that peace idea to play some Kirk Franklin after walkthroughs?
I don't know. I grew up in the church, but, I used to preach when I was a little kid, but, 13, Sunday school, all that good stuff. So, but, that was not my.
Is there a video of that?
There's cassette tape. My parents still talk about it, when they hear me swearing and stuff, they're like, you used to preach. I'm like, I know, not anymore. So, all good? All right, happy holidays.
Greg, how do you quantify a loss like Brock Bowers, not having Brock Bowers out there for you?
Yeah, it always, one, you feel for the player anytime something like that comes up, but, it's hard on everybody, but certainly most hard on the player, so you just feel for the player.
From schematically and just from, the focal point that he is, how big of a loss is it?
Well, it's always a next man up mindset. I think any coach that you've ever interviewed would tell you that it's, that there's no one feels sorry for you. No, nobody cares, to be honest with you. So, and as coaches, we preach that all the time within practice. Sometimes you'll pull a player out and make a backup step up to kind of prepare him for those situations. So, but the whole next man up mindset kind of carries you through.
With a young player like Brock Bowers, you're looking for improvement year over year. What do you think Brock has improved on this year now that his season is over?
Yeah, obviously, not being here last year, I didn't get a chance to be around him. So obviously, looked at him from afar and was really impressed with how he played and the player that he is. And he did nothing to disappoint me after being here and getting a chance to be with him for a year, because he is an all-around tight end. He's an excellent route runner. He can help you in the run game and in the blocking. He's extremely athletic. He's got a great football mindset, great instincts as a tight end. So he just brings a lot to the table, very unique in his body type and size. And he's improving. He's one of those guys that every week we bring up examples of how he practices and how he carries it into the game. So practice preparation equals the game set or game day reality kind of for him, and he's a great example of that. And we pointed out repeatedly during the week. So he's just been a great player.
I think seeing that was kind of surprising, because from the outside you would have no idea that Bowers is still battling this injury by his performance.
Yeah.
So what does that say about his mentality?
Again, what a warrior he is. To be honest with you, I think that the great athletes in any sport, with basketball, football, baseball, I think the great ones, it's one thing to play injured, but when you still play well when you're injured, that tells you something about the person. So, we were fortunate to have him. It was certainly a letdown when we found out the news this week. because you didn't see it in his play. Even coaching it, he was, he's not one to complain or, he's not ever going to tell you. He's one of those players that you have to probably protect from himself because he's so tough. So disappointing for him.
So the numbers that Ashton put up, but it looked like especially the interior of the line had maybe their best game of the season. Is that what you saw?
Yeah, I felt like we ID'd it better and our fits were better when you looked at it. And I thought we controlled the line of scrimmage for the most part. When you look at it, you're not going to win every matchup, but when you go through the course of the game and you look at the number of runs that were called, how many did we control the line of scrimmage and how many did they control the line of scrimmage? And I felt like it was our best game in that regard, but it also came down to our fits were better and our ID was better at the line of scrimmage.
On the long touchdown run, obviously there's patience because it's not there right away. Ashton shows patience, but also Dylan doesn't quit on the play and just wipes out a guy from there. I guess what did you see on that play, and then what did you see from Dylan?
No, I agree. And again, it's about finishing. We talk about can you strain for 6-7 seconds? Can you strain? And don't after 4 or 5. A lot of guys let up. We got to strain longer was a big point of emphasis last week. And I think Ashton again with his power and his size, he's difficult to see on the other side of the line of scrimmage when he gets into those pile-ups, so that helps. His contact balance that we talked about in the past, but also if you're a linebacker on the other side of the line of scrimmage and there is a group of offensive and defensive linemen and he's in behind it in tight, he's difficult to see popping out. So I think his size helps him in that regard and obviously his power. But it was good to see the guys finish up front.
At this point in the season, how do you balance competing but also getting these young guys in and using different personnel?
Yeah, I think every week we again Pete and the philosophy we're going to compete to win every week. But as the season goes, and again, sometimes it's through attrition, through injuries, or somebody just getting better. And we feel like a player like Jack Besh, he's just continued to get better every week. So. He's made the most of his opportunities and the most of his targets when we've targeted him. He's made catches, but you also have seen it in practice, him getting better. So as we see the young players develop and get better throughout the season, they deserve the opportunity to play, and hopefully we'll get them some chances to compete this week on the field. But still, the bottom line is we're competing to win these games down the stretch, and if a young player can help us, then we're going to get him on the field.
What's the next step for Dante Thornton, and especially as he focuses on the offseason?
Yeah, same thing. I think just continual improvement. And I think that's, it's easier said than done for a lot of players. There's a lot of players that come in the league. It's a long season. Your first year is a rookie year. And you can go back and look at the history of wide receivers in the NFL, and there's very few of them that have had, really good years their rookie season. So we just got to see continued growth and continued improvement.
The long pass to Ashton, he lines up wide left, ISO'd on a linebacker, and he said he could tell by the way the linebacker was just kind of positioned that he had scouted out that everything's in breaking from the outside, and then you guys don't. You run a stop and go kind of to the outside. How much is that like self-scouting of understanding like what you've been doing, what other teams think you're doing, and then kind of countering that? Yeah,
that's what you're always trying to set plays up, obviously. In the league, and we have had him out wide, and he has, he's the good thing about him, he's able to do multiple things as a wide receiver flexed out, and we're finding that out a little bit more about him. Certainly something we could have been doing all season, but it was great that Gino recognized it and saw the matchup, and we knew right away, when we saw the matchup, that's where the ball was going to go, and we all had faith that Ashton was going to win on that route and make the catch, but. Still, just as we talked about last week, trying to find ways to get the ball into our playmakers' hands. And losing Brock this week certainly hurts us because he's one of our biggest playmakers. But we'll still have some other guys that will need to step up, and Ashton becomes one of the primary playmakers for us. So we'll continue to find ways to get the ball into his hands. Thank you, guys. Yep. Merry Christmas again. Yep.